Once again, we are back on Soch ttalk Train of Thought with a series of an episode with Mr. Jasneet Singh Bindra, Country Head of CISI. It's a great valuable insights to what we are getting as far as the financial services and the financial market which are concerned. So welcome back to this episode again live. Now in the last episode, we did spoke in terms of a financial market from the perspective of an operations. Where our target audience got very good real insights as far as the operation aspect which are concerned. Now for the benefit of our target audience, can you throw some light in terms of wealth and the capital market?
Sure. So for the sake of audience, let me give you a very simple example. What is wealth management? Wealth management is basically how you can plan, your money and how you can grow it. Right? Traditionally, what used to happen was people used to have their monies only in the savings account, and there used to be something called as fixed deposit. That you'll get 3% on your money, and you're happy with it. But then people at that point of time, because there was lack of financial literacy, if I may use that word, not used to take into account inflation. So for example, if inflation is 5.5%, and FD is giving you a return of 3%, that means every year you're losing 2.5%. That means the value of your 100 rupee note today becomes 98 after 1 year. Right? So how do you plan for that? So over the years, for example, even the Indian capital market structure has become very strong. We have one of the oldest exchange in the world. There are multiple opportunities, various asset classes in which one can invest and allow the money to grow. Right? There are equity markets, which also come with their own set of risk. So if the equity component in your investment is a little higher, the chances are you'll get a better return, but at the same time the risk is higher. So it's like a high risk, high reward kind of a return. Then you have the debt market, which are traditionally a little safer, right? In which the returns are not as high as equity, but they are a safer bets, right? Then you have bonds, which are more like a fixed income, right? Then you have more riskier options like future and options forwards, right? Where you can determine the rate of a future contract. That I'll give you a simple example again that India imports a lot of oil, right, from the Middle East. Let's say the price of oil today is $60 a barrel, right? And you feel that the price might become $75 a barrel after a few months or a few years. You might get into a future contract where you might fix up the pricing of the underlying asset right at the outset to avoid fluctuation of exchange rates and So today you are buying that oil for $60, even if it becomes $75. The obligation of the contract does not allow you to change the rate. Right? And if you want to change the rate, that's where options come to the picture. Right? That tomorrow, if the rate goes up, then there's no obligation of the party to keep it and sell it only at 60, but then can charge $75 also per barrel. So these are knowledge which a wealth management professional brings to the table.
And as a wealth management which is concerned for a student's perspective, what is that? What they can compete at the corporate place? Any certification from CISI on that?
We do have a international certificate in wealth and investment management, and then we also have a Indian module on that, which again talks more from the Indian taxation and Indo regulation perspective. So we have a dual program which we cover the global market as well as the Indian market. Because we firmly believe that for any student going forward, having an understanding of both the markets, global as well as Indian market, is absolutely important. So to answer your question in a nutshell, we have a program which will give them information on both the global as well as the Indian markets. And this exam is also very well recognized by regulators in India as well as globally, right? And also the corporates recognize a lot of these content.
Nice. For the benefit of a target audience, can you throw some light in terms of capital markets?
So capital market, as I just mentioned, that the stock markets are very, very strong, in India as well as globally. So there are immense opportunities available for students. Also someone who wants to kind of trade themselves. You must have seen a lot of people as a passion. As I mentioned, there are various instruments in which you can make money. So today you might see that people are investing in let's say mutual funds. People are investing in insurance. People are making a lot of money in the stock markets. But how do you make that money is you can only make that money if you have the right knowledge of markets. You've also seen people losing a lot of money in stock markets. So some of the capital market program that you have, allows you to give that knowledge for an individual, right? So that could be also be like a side income, right? A lot of people who are working full time, they also invest and they allow their money to grow, as and when the markets are doing well.
Nice.
But again, at the same time, as a disclaimer, I want to highlight it's a volatile market, and having the right knowledge of this market is very, very important.
Now, when we talk in terms of today's scenario, where most of the corporates who are there are also looking in terms of a strong compliance which are there, and they wanted the employees to be well equipped with all this compliances. Can you throw some light on that?
See, following what I would probably say, being in line with what the regulators want is very important. We have seen a lot of examples of corporates getting huge fines because of the fact that they are not compliant to a particular regulation. I don't want to name any of the corporates, but we all know, right? As a result, it becomes very important to understand the regulation and the compliance side of business. In your earlier episode, I mentioned about what happened in the US in 2008. I would like to throw some more light on that. That happened because a lot of loans were given to people without proper background checks. It is also called as a subprime crisis, mortgage crisis. What happens when you give loan to people without proper background checks is you're not doing the file work, you're not checking the collaterals, whether they have the capacity to pay back those loans or not. And as a result, these people defaulted on their loans. And when people default on their loans, it's the banks which suffer, right? So I think understanding the regulation and compliance part of it is very important. Also, the fact that regulation and compliance became very, very important after that. So today, whatever you, me, and everyone does, are closely watched by the regulators. And as a result, the regulators in India as well as globally are trying to ensure that everything which is being done in the right way and the right manner. So in that aspect, I think again coming back to the point, some of the risk and compliance modules give you absolute right knowledge as to what are the do's and don'ts. If I may put it again in layman's language.
Okay, great. In fact, now for students who are listening to you, it's a very good insights you're given in terms of a financial market, in terms of an operations, and also in terms of wealth market and the capital market. Now, the students who are already part of an finance, a piece of an advice for them, many a times I think they to reading the financial newspaper, although I think some awareness about the surroundings, about the environment as such.
Correct.
So what do you have to say for them,
Well, my advice to finance students would be that finance is like an ocean, right? Don't think that you've learned finance as a part of your maybe an MBA specialization or even as a graduation. You learned everything. First is setting up your foundation. Very, very strong is very important, and then please decide which specialization within finance you want to focus on, whether it's front office, middle office, or back office. And basis that, choose your pathway. If it's back office, please do some of the operation relevant modules which I spoke about. Do some research on that. Right? If your inclination is more toward front office, do something on wealth management and corporate finance or capital markets. If your inclination again is toward middle office, then focus your energy towards risk and compliance domains. But very important, when you are doing your MBA, or for that matter, even your graduation, that is the time for you to learn. Make sure you make the best use of that time. Once you're in the corporate world, you'll be working almost 12 hours in a day. You will just not get time to kind of read, write, and do that. So please make the best use of the current time, and please choose your specialization very, very wisely. But before that, please have your foundation strong.
Good, great. It's a great valuable insights given by Mr. Jasneet Singh Bindra on this ttalk. Soch did spoke in terms of an operation and also in terms of an capital market and the risk and the compliances. I think as a finance students, we need to update ourselves with all the relevant things which are happening in the market, so that you are well equipped to take up the job at the marketplace. Do catch up with Mr. Jasneet Singh Bindra in our next episode of ttalk. Soch ki channel and go to www.ttalk.net. Like and subscribe the channel as much as you can. So thanks a lot for your presence.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.